My name is Nitin Nahar. I welcome you all on behalf of JK Shah classes to this RTP videos relating to May 22 exam. This video specifically deals with indirect taxes, which is a part of paper 4. Now, as you can see, the RTP clearly mentions that all the amendments up to 31st October 2021 will be applicable for your exams. So let's move forward with all the questions in this RTP. Now, the first question is a case study based MCQ. Now, whenever you find a case study based MCQ where some details are given, say suppose till here certain details are given, and then it says from the following information provided above, please choose the appropriate answer. My recommendation would always be to first read those questions and then read the case study part. The advantage which you will get by doing this is you are already aware what you need from the case study. If you are aware of what you need from the case study, your mind will start thinking on those lines. So directly we first read all the questions. It says from the following information, choose the most appropriate answer for the following questions. After granting temporary registration, Vidula Impex needs to apply for registration within dash. See, temporary registration would mean a case of suo motu registration granted by proper officer. And the moment proper officer is granting suo motu registration, you are required to submit all the documents and then pay tax, interest, penalty which is applicable. The time for you to give those documents is 90 days. So even without reading the MCQ, you can answer certain questions. Let's see everything, then we'll write the answers. Within dash from the date of grant of temporary registration if no extension period is granted for such temporary registration. So the options are 30, 90, 7 and 15 days. Then, in case of which of the following services the company is liable to pay tax under reverse charge? So renting of motor vehicle and directorship, and then it says both or neither. That means when we are reading, we'll have to focus on renting of motor vehicle and directorship. Fine. Which document is required to be issued by the company in respect of invoice issued on 28 Feb 2021? Something related to 28 Feb 2021. We need to be careful while reading the case study. The company needs to file final return. Final return is filed in case of cancellation of registration. That means there will be a case of cancellation and we will have to find out the last date for filing final return. Okay. Which of the following statement is correct in respect of e-way bills generated for goods in the month of Feb, for which order was cancelled? So order was cancelled. Once generated, e-way bill cannot be cancelled. This is wrong. You know that e-way bill can be cancelled if in case you do it within 24 hours. Let's see other options. E-way bill can be cancelled within 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. See, without even reading the main case study, we are able to answer 2 to 3 questions and think on those lines. It saves a lot of time. Always follow this strategy for case study based MCQ. First, read the questions, then read the case study to save time. Okay, so though we know the answer that it is 24 hours, let's read the case study now. Okay. Vidula Impex Limited is engaged in supplying sports goods. Fine. The company did not opt for registration under GST. Okay. The proper officer under GST, based on enquiry, finds that the concern is liable to register. Remember, temporary registration, that is suo motu registration granted by proper officer, is possible only in case where a person was liable to register and he has not obtained registration. Let's see. and he registers the firm on temporary basis on 15th June. Okay. After being granted registration certificate, the company availed the following services for its business. Renting of motor vehicle from Blue Taxi Private Limited, where GST was charged at 12%. See, first of all, the supplier is charging you 12%, plus it is provided by a person who is a body corporate. There is no RCM in this. We are aware of this while reading it, and we know there's a question related to this. Appointed Mr. Rajesh, a technical director for advisory role in business, and the payment was made based on contract entered. However, he was not an employee of the company. If he is not an employee, director to body corporate, it is a case of reverse charge mechanism. Okay. During the course of its business, the company issued an invoice to a customer and erroneously charged higher value of 34,000. People, when you have erroneously charged a higher amount, what is the document which you will issue? Sir, we have charged more. Now we need to reduce it. To reduce the value, can you revise your invoice? The answer is no. You will be issuing a credit note to reduce the value. Fine. Such invoice was issued on 28th Feb 2021. So we are aware that credit note has to be issued to reduce the value. Okay. Further, in the month of Feb 2021, the company also generated an e-way bill for interstate transport of goods. However, immediately on generation of e-way bill, the buyer cancelled the order before it is dispatched from the factory for delivery. In the month of March 21, since the company incurred heavy losses, it applied for cancellation on 15th March. So 15th March we applied for cancellation. The order for cancellation was made on 30th March, affecting cancelling the registration with effect from 15th March. So the effective date of cancellation is 15th March, while the order date is 30th March. Whichever is later, final return 3 months from the date of cancellation or 3 months from the date of order of cancellation, whichever is later. So from 30th March, 3 months. That would be the last date for filing final return. Now let's see. So temporary registration, once granted, you have to apply for registration and submit all the documents within 90 days. Okay. Then directorship is covered by RCM, not renting of motor vehicle in this particular case. What will you issue as the document? The document which you will issue is credit note. The company needs to file final return. See, 30th March plus 3 months will get you 30th June. And the last one we had already answered while reading the questions. E-way bill once generated can be cancelled within 24 hours. Clear with this? Yes. Great. Now let's see the sixth one. Mr. Shambhu, a trader registered under GST in Delhi, is engaged in wholesale business of toys. That means goods industry business. Mr. Nandi, registered under GST in Patiala, a regular return filer, supplies toys in bulk to Mr. Shambhu. So Nandi is supplying to Mr. Shambhu for selling it to end customers. Mr. Shambhu, paying tax in regular scheme in Delhi, has not filed GSTR 3B for 2 months. Mr. Nandi wants to generate e-way bill for toys amounting 5 lakh to be supplied to Mr. Shambhu. Also, Mr. Narayan from Jammu approached Mr. Shambhu for purchasing toys of 75,000 for the purpose of return gift on his son's first birthday party. Shambhu wants to generate e-way bill in respect of outward supply. Examine with reference to the provisions of GST law whether Mr. Nandi and Mr. Shambhu can generate e-way bill. Now see, Rule 138E. What does it say? It says that in case you have not filed your return for 2 months, then you will not be allowed to generate e-way bill. Now, you will not be allowed to generate e-way bill for your outward supplies. That means only for your sales, you will not be able to generate e-way bill. Now, see, in this case, they have asked two parts. One, Nandi is selling to Shambhu and Shambhu is selling to Mr. Narayan. Now, who has not filed the return? Mr. Shambhu has not filed return. So, can Mr. Nandi generate e-way bill? The answer is yes. For rupees 5 lakh, he can generate e-way bill. Why, sir? Because for Nandi has not defaulted in filing returns. Mr. Shambhu has defaulted, and that's why in this case, Mr. Nandi can generate e-way bill. Now, can Mr. Shambhu generate e-way bill for 75,000? The answer is no, because for his outward supply, 138E denies generation of e-way bill. Any person who has not filed return for 2 consecutive tax periods or not filed GSTR1 or composition scheme if he has not filed for 2 quarters or registration is suspended, in all these cases, you are not eligible to generate e-way bill. So you'll have to state 138E saying that only for his outward supplies he cannot generate e-way bill. And what about this, sir? Obviously, outward supply for Mr. Shambhu. 75,000 not allowed. Nandi can generate it because for him it is a sale. For Mr. Shambhu, he is a recipient. Clear? Great. Okay. Now let's see the next one. Mr. Ayushman, a registered person having intrastate aggregate turnover of 1.2 crore in preceding financial year did not file GSTR 3B for the month of September 21. September 21 by 10th November 2021. The amount of tax payable for the month of September 2021 was 8 lakh. All his supplies are intrastate supplies. Is there any late fee payable for the same? If yes, what is the amount of late fee payable? Careful people, new amendment has happened in this. And what is the amendment? In case of a person filing nil return, the maximum cap of late fee under CGST and SGST 250. If your last year turnover was up to 1.5 crore, maximum cap is 1,000. If your turnover is more than 1.5 crore up to 5 crore, then the cap is 2,500 and 2,500. And finally, if your turnover was more than 5 crore in preceding financial year, then 5,000 and 5,000. People, these three are related to turnover, but nil will be available to anyone. This is the maximum late fee which is prescribed in the law at present. 100 rupees per day or this. See, in real life, the late fee is 25 rupees CGST and 25 rupees SGST. But in this provision, you will not be using that. Simple reason, for your examination module does not say 25, 100 rupees per day, and it will be subject to a maximum of 5,000 CGST, 5,000 SGST separately. So if your last year turnover was more than 5 crore, then 5,000. Last year turnover 1.5 crore to 5 crore, maximum 2,500 each. Last year turnover up to 1.5 crore, 1,000 each. Nil return, it would be 250, 250. This is what the provision says. Now, let's see what to apply here. Last year turnover was 1.2 crores. If last year turnover was 1.2 crores, maximum late fee will be 1000 CGST, 1000 SGST. Let's see the second part. Will your answer be different in A if Ayushman had intrastate aggregate turnover of 5 crores? Exactly 5 crores. Then in that case, 2,500 and 2,500. This one would have applied. Correct. Okay. Will your answer be different in A if the total amount of tax payable in 3B for September was nil? If it was nil, then the cap will be 250 and 250. This is the maximum late fee. This is the recent amendment, and for this, Institute has given a RTP question as well. Clear? Simple? Great. Okay. Let's see the next one. Mr. X, Haryana, intends to start business of supply of building material to various construction sites in Haryana. Fine. He has taken voluntary registration under GST in the month of April. Fine. He has not commenced business till December. People, you remember one of the reasons for suo motu cancellation by proper officer is if you have taken voluntary registration but you have not commenced business for 6 months. If you don't commence business for 6 months, then proper officer can issue a notice for suo motu cancellation under section 29. Fine, let's read it forward. He has not commenced business till December due to lack of working capital. The proper officer suo motu cancelled the registration of Mr. X. You are required to examine whether the action taken by officer is valid in law. The answer is yes, it is valid in law. The process has to be followed, then it is valid in law. Mr. X has applied for revocation after 40 days from the date of service of order of cancellation. Once he received the order, he applied within 40 days. He had to apply within 30 days. But do you remember the new amendment? 30 days additional time can be given by additional commissioner, joint commissioner, and commissioner can further extend it to 30 days. So 30 plus 30 plus 30, totally 90 days if you show sufficient cause. Now, in this case, you have applied after 40 days. It will be valid if you can show sufficient cause and to additional commissioner, because you don't require another 30. It is within 60, so you will be able to manage. But let's see what the question is saying. Let's read again. Mr. X has applied for revocation of cancellation after 40 days from the date of service of order. Department contends that the application for revocation can only be made within 30 days from the date of service of order. However, X contends that the period of submission may be extended on sufficient ground being shown. You are required to comment upon the validity raised by department and Mr. X. Department's view is not correct because they are saying you have to file within 30 days. That's not complete correct to you, because 30 days can further be extended by another 30 days and another 30 days. So totally you get good time limit now with the recent amendment. So the contention is correct of Mr. A in this case, and suo motu cancellation taken is also a correct action by proper officer. Okay, let's see the next one. Geeta Services Limited, registered under GST, is engaged in providing various services to government. The company provides the following information in respect of services provided during the month of April. So we are giving services to government. Remember, to government is generally taxable. There are only two exemptions. One, where pure service or composite supply, where the goods element does not exceed 25%. And second one is fair price shops charging commission from government for public distribution system. These are the only 2 points which enjoy an exemption. Otherwise, any service provided to government is taxable. Let's have a look at this. Supply of manpower for cleanliness of roads, not involving any supply of goods. This will enjoy an exemption because this is an activity in relation to Article 243G, 243W of the Constitution. It is a pure service contract. As it is a pure service contract, exemption will be available. Second one, service provided by fair price shops owned by Geeta Services Limited by way of sale of sugar under public distribution system against consideration in the form of commission. This will also enjoy an exemption because this is again an exempt service. Then service of maintenance of street light in municipal area involving replacement of defunct not working lights or other spares along with maintenance. Generally, replacement of defunct lights and spares constitutes 35% of the supply of service. So total contract 35% goods, then exemption will not be available. If it was 25%, then we would have given the exemption. But this is 35%, so it will be taxable. Okay. Let's see the last one. Service of brochure distribution provided under the training program for which 70% of the total expenditure is borne by government. This is again taxable. New entry where 75% or more, a training program where 75% or more is contributed by government, then it will enjoy an exemption. But 70% would not be eligible for an exemption. This will be liable to GST. Clear? Great. Okay. Oh, we have come to the last one, which is a theory based question. Restrictions have been imposed on use of amount available in e-credit ledger via rule 86B. 86B is a restriction where 1% has to be paid through e-cash ledger, because the law restricts usage of e-credit ledger in excess of 99% of your output tax. So if your output tax is 100, then you can use 99% of that is 99 rupees can be paid through e-credit. Other words, it means 1% has to be paid in e-cash ledger. Okay. They have asked, is there any exception to this rule? Okay. State the exceptions. Is there any exception? The answer is yes. Totally 4 exceptions are there. Those 4 exceptions will form part of our answer. First, if the person or karta or proprietor or 2 partners, whole-time directors, managing committee members, trustees, if they have paid more than 1 lakh rupees as income tax in preceding 2 financial year. So each of the preceding 2 financial year for which the time limit to file income tax return is not over, they should have at least paid 1 lakh rupees in each of the 2 preceding financial years. Then rule 86B is not applicable to them. Fair enough. How will government get to know? Online it is very easy for government to get, because they will link the PAN They will get to know whether the other person has paid income tax. This is one. Second one is government department, public sector undertaking, local authority. These persons are not covered under Rule 86B. Third one is a person who has applied for refund of more than 1 lakh in preceding financial year. Though you don't treat refund at your inter-CA level, but refund under zero rated supplies or inverted tax structure. See, inverted tax structure you learn at final level, and zero rated supply is exporters claiming a refund. So exporters and inverted tax structure, if you have got a refund of more than 1 lakh in preceding financial year, here 2 financial year is not there, in preceding financial year, then again no need to follow 86B. And last one is cumulatively up to the said month you have paid at least 1% or more than 1% as through e-cash ledger. This cumulatively point, let me just show it to you. See this carefully. Say suppose April month my output was 100 lakh. My ITC was 96 lakh. So I would have paid 4 lakh rupees through e-cash ledger. Correct. May month my output is 100. ITC 97 lakh. 3 lakh I would have paid through e-cash ledger. Now June month, you know what happened? June month the sales was not good. Sales was not as I expected. I thought I'll sell more, but output tax collected was 100 lakh. I had purchased much higher. So I did not pay anything through e-cash ledger. Now for June month, will this restriction of 86B apply? If cumulatively up to the said month in the financial year, if I have paid more than 1% cumulatively, then this restriction is not applicable. If I total these three, this 3 comes to 300 lakhs. 300 lakhs into 1%, 3 lakh. Have I paid more than 3 lakh rupees? The answer is yes. In fact, till the month of June, I have totally paid 7 lakh rupees, which is much more than 3 lakh. So the restriction will not be applicable for the month of June, because up to the said period in the financial year, I have discharged more than 1% through e-cash ledger. Are you clear? So totally 4 cases. First one, income tax paid of more than 1 lakh in preceding 2 financial years. Second, government department, local authority, public sector undertaking. Third, refund of more than 1 lakh in preceding financial year. And last one, cumulatively up to the said month, I have discharged more than 1%. In such cases, I am not required to be covered under 86B. And sir, is all the things to be satisfied? No. If you satisfy one, then it is sufficient compliance. And when does Rule 86B get triggered? Only when in a month your taxable supply exceeds 50 lakh. And only for that month it will apply. Say suppose 1 month your taxable supply is 30 lakh. It will not apply. Only to that month where your taxable supply exceeds 50 lakh. Clear with this? Yes. So we come to an end of RTP. Go through it again very carefully. Wishing you all the best for your examinations.